Because, please, I have not seen the new trailer. I saw the first trailer. I watched it on stream with you guys. I've not seen the new one. Apparently the new one is really fucking bad. I'm genuinely curious how bad it is. So, chat, gird your loins. It is time to dive in.
After everything that's happened, you'd think it'd be impossible for the upcoming Snow White film to fall any further, but somehow Disney found a way, and with the recent release of the official trailer, the Snow White disasters got even worse. Now Snow White has been played up as one of Disney's biggest projects, and as such you'd think they go above and beyond with the marketing. However, as we all know, it's been an absolute train wreck from the beginning, ever since the main co-stars trashed on the original characters, and all during this build.
Yes, chat, just so you're aware, apparently I am woke now, according to the YouTube commentators. Apparently I am woke now, so by the tenets of the woke mindset, I am obligated to say that I like this now, just to give you guys fair warning, because I didn't even realize that I'm woke. Just be aware, I'm gonna have to praise this to high heaven. I'm required by law, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Up. Audiences barely got a peek at the official trailer. It was all just these teasers that never really amounted to anything. Most were expecting Disney to publish the official Snow White trailer alongside the release of Wicked, as not only would it be a smart marketing move, but it made the most sense thematically. And while that's exactly what Disney did, their strategy was unconventional. The trailer and official poster were only available in a few theaters. For just over a week, promotions didn't go any further. No one could find the official new trailer anywhere. It took someone leaking a recording of it before the rest of the internet could even get a glimpse. But still, not even the leak got Disney to post the trailer on its official accounts. It was almost like the studio was desperate to keep their trailer out of the public eye, like they were trying to avoid ridicule for as long as possible, especially seeing—
Now, it's not like they were trying to. They were. Disney is basically trying to do a slow walk tactic because for some reason Disney is doing the thing of, okay, if I pretend it's not happening, or if I delay on doing it, it's not gonna hurt as bad. Like, this is literally fucking 5-year-old shit. Like, if I can, if I can delay going to the doctor, the shot's not going to hurt. It's literal 5-year-old bullshit they're trying to do. No matter when they drop it, people are gonna hate it because of the precedent that has been set for literally the last year and a half, 2 years. The last year and a half to 2 years has been building up to this. Their first teaser trailer was not received very well. The still shots that have been peppered throughout, nobody likes. And so they're just doing this, well, if we just stall on dropping it, maybe, by the time we drop it, people will like it or something like that. Piers Morgan is not the only one that did that. Everyone has criticized them for using CGI dwarves instead of actual actors, while at the same time criticizing Peter Dinklage because they've pointed fingers at him being the reason why Disney did not hire dwarf, small actors, little person actors. Because Peter Dinklage opened his fucking mouth, and for some reason people think he's like the king of the fucking dwarves or something like that. The original photos was with real actors, but they were not dwarves. They were quote-unquote magical creatures. And it basically looked like a bunch of fucking dirty hippies frolicking in the grass. And then Disney realized, oh shit, this ain't gonna work. When everybody said, Disney, you were a bunch of fucking morons. And so then they went back to do a shit ton of reshoots. This movie has been almost entirely reshot, as I understand it. So the movie is basically changed almost entirely from when they originally filmed it. They pretty much reshot almost the entire movie.
Seeing how much of a disaster it had been already. Even Disney had to face the music at some point, and on the 3rd of December they finally posted the official trailer to YouTube, and the world would quickly let the studio know exactly what they thought of it. Now at the time of making this video, the trailer currently has around 660,000 more dislikes than likes, and that number is still massive.
Wow. Okay, chat. Remember yesterday when we watched the trailer when we were discussing the trailer for Intergalactic, and a big deal was being made about 30,000 likes versus 37,000 dislikes, and people were claiming that's a ratio, and I was saying, no, it's a fucking even split. It's kind of a perfectly normal reaction to a game where it's like a half and half. Half people like, half people don't like. And there have been comments saying like, oh, it's getting fucking ratioed. And people in my fucking YouTube comments on that video were saying, when it's half people dislike it, that's half your audience you're losing. It's like, motherfucker, these are people in 2024. Yes, half the people are going to dislike it. And a 50-50 split of dislikes is not a metric for a quote-unquote ratioing. Because how many of those people just click dislike because they have a hard-on to stick it to Naughty Dog? So, yeah, it's a ratio of like 30,000 to 37,000, or a difference of that, not a difference of that degree, is not a ratio. This is a fucking ratio. When you have 28,000 likes to 714,000 dislikes.
That is a really bad ratio for a movie trailer.
Yes, this is a ratio. When you have such a dynamic difference between likes and dislikes, that is a ratio. Absolutely. This is a ratio. What I would, the likes to dislikes, a difference on the Interstellar, that's not ratioed. That's literally almost an even split, and actually to be expected for any game in the modern age. Because people, again, are like hyper vigilant and hyper ready to hate on anything these days. A 50-50 split is not a ratio. That's a fucking ratio. This right here is a goddamn ratio.
Massively climbing. But remarkably, one of the only redeeming things about this entire fiasco is that Disney actually left the comments on the trailer, and it's almost more entertaining than anything Disney's put out recently. Some wonderful gems included. At this point, the monetization of the video is going to earn Disney more revenue than the movie itself.
And you know what? Someone at Disney may have very well said, like, I'll bet you Disney probably initially did want to turn comments off. And someone at Disney probably said, no. You know, some actual, like, YouTube savvy individual who's thinking dollars and not agenda is probably said, no, leave the comments open, because the more people can comment on it, the more engagement you're going to get, the more it's going to push this trailer in the algorithm and push it to people's front page. And all the people shitting on it are going to make people want to check out the trailer to see if it's really as bad as that. Exactly. It's farming the engagement. It's farming for hate watchers, essentially. Which, yeah, it's farming for hate watching is a shitty practice, but Disney's got to do something. They've got to do something.
And they finally did it. They made a movie nobody is going to pirate. Those who haven't seen the trailer may wonder if it's really as bad as the comments are making out to be. And we can say with certainty that it may be even worse. The trailer makes Snow White feel like an unholy amalgamation of all the worst aspects of modern Disney. The bad CGI, the oversaturated colors, the preachy
Whoa. Back that shit up.
Worst aspects of modern Disney. The bad CGI.
And dear God, what is this fucking horror show that I'm seeing right here? That's supposed to be a dwarf? And yes, Gal Gadot is the evil queen. This is what Disney decided to go with, instead of an actor.
Cheer 100 frack, they gonna go and butcher one of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales again. Guess it's high time to break out pitchforks and torches.
Edgar, the pitchforks and torches have been out for a year and a half. Honestly. Andrea, good question. The facial expressions? Do look very similar. They do. And by the way, It's hard to gauge. I don't have anything to gauge. I'm trying to figure out if he's actually the size of a dwarf or not. I don't know. But that is nightmare fuel. Like seriously, they could have hired 7 little person actors. No, that's not Dopey. Dopey looks younger than that. And he has bigger ears. They could have hired 7 little person actors to be the dwarves. Excuse me. They could have. Or, yeah, they could have hired 7 regular-sized actors, maybe on the short side, and done the forced perspective trick like they did in fucking Lord of the Rings.
Could you imagine if LOTR did this CGI? The uproar cheer 100.
Revan, I'm gonna need Rhett for that brain cell. Exactly. Lord of the Rings was able to do this. Well, 20 fucking years ago, they did dwarves without the need for this bullshit. So, this is Disney wanting their cake and eating it too, because what would happen is if they actually did the forced perspective trick, and they hired full regular height actors, or even actors on the smaller side, on the shorter side, to be the dwarves and did the Lord of the Rings visual perspective trick, which would have worked fine, you would have had the fucking activists saying, you're taking jobs away from little people actors. And so instead of Disney doing the smart thing and either hiring little person actors to play the dwarves, of which they probably didn't have a shortage of people they could have hired for this, or hire normal heighted actors and use use perspective camera trickery, they went full fucking CGI, which in the end was more expensive. Bear in mind, for Disney to do the animation of these dwarves was more expensive than if they hired someone and did camera tricks. Think about that. How much money, how many millions did Disney piss away on this fucking CGI? We're gonna find out once the movie launches and we get an idea of the budget of the movie. And learn how to hypnotize. Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow.
The bad CGI, the oversaturated colours, the preachy woke actors, the character assassinations to tell
Okay, I'm gonna say one thing here.
the oversaturated colours.
Oversaturated colors is not a big issue. I'm going to do a give me here. In a movie, in a Snow White movie, having oversaturated colors is not
Even
terrible.
the Wonka movie did CGI way better than this shit.
Oh yes, Heckle. I know. Most other movies did CGI better than this shit. But the remark here about the oversaturated colors, yeah, I think when they're talking about the oversat, not in this specific shot, but like other shots where her dress, like the colors are really popping and seems to be like oversaturated. That's why I say this specific scene right here may not be what he's referencing. But having oversaturated colors in the Snow White movie is not terrible in the grand scheme of things, realistically.
Colours, the preachy woke actors.
Maybe that's what they were talking about there with the oversaturated colors, like with Gal Gadot right here. You've got some oversaturated colors going on right here with her necklace and the patterning on her gown. Maybe that's what they're referring to with the oversaturation. I still find it fucking hysterical that Gal Gadot's Wicked Witch, when she speaks to the magic mirror to say who's the fairest one of all, that the magic mirror is going to say fucking Rachel Zegler over Gal fucking Gadot. That still just fucking blows my mind.
actors. The character assassinations to tell a more modern story, because apparently old fairy tales can't teach valuable lessons anymore, and all of this has been rolled into a massive controversial mess. It seems like the trailer's trying to tell two stories, the original Disney tale and its modernized counterpart. As a result, it all just feels very disconnected. Disney's designed the film to look like the original movie and included
Honestly, if they wanted to get, you know who would have been a better choice for Snow White? I forget her name. I'm sorry, I forget the actress's name. Who played Wednesday Addams in the Wednesday series? Jenna Ortega. Jenna Ortega would have probably been a better choice for Snow White than Rachel Zegler. Hands down. I think Jenna Ortega probably would have been a much better choice. Like the paleness, paleness you can give or take. That's not a big thing. But well, maybe Revan? I think she would have been able to pull this off a lot better than Rachel. I think she would have been viewed much better than Rachel Zegler. Plus, Jenna Ortega would have had respect for the character she's embodying. Because don't forget, on the set of Wednesday Addams, she stood up to the director when the director tried to get her to do something when they were filming. And she said, no, Wednesday Addams would not fucking do this, and put her foot down and would not let the director fuck with the character. They hired Rachel Zegler because Rachel Zegler is a singer. She is a vocalist. And that's very likely why they hired her. She vaguely looks similar to Snow White if you squint hard enough and put on, like, Coke bottle glasses. But she's a singer. And this is going to be a musical.
Moments from it, but there's no room for any of it in their modern retelling, and it leaves you wondering how they plan to fit the old hag tricking Snow White into eating the apple and Snow White bravely confronting the queen in the same story. The one doesn't work with the other, unless of course they're—
Wait. I was just thinking about something, I totally missed that. I need to hear that again.
And it leaves you wondering how they plan to fit the old hag tricking Snow White into eating the apple and Snow White bravely confronting the queen in the same story. The one doesn't—
What? I was unaware of this. She's both going to eat the poisoned apple from the Wicked Witch as the hag, but then she's going to confront the fucking Wicked Witch after? Or is this gonna end up being fucking dreamed? Like, what the actual fuck? That makes no goddamn sense. Because after the Wicked Witch tricked Snow White into eating the apple, the dwarves run her off the fucking cliff. Well, heckle, probably because she's, just got done picketing for more money.
Cheer 100 wondering how true to the written account they'll go. I mean, in the tale the stepsisters have to mutilate themselves on order of their mother to try and pose as the rightful owner of the glass slipper. The stepmother herself gets—
Echo, what the fuck are you talking about? Gamer! Are you sure you're thinking about the right fairy tale here? You're talking about Cinderella, my brother. My brother in Christ. You're talking about Cinderella here, not Snow White. You keep up. It'll be okay.
Work with the other, unless of course they're hoping nostalgia will draw crowds and plan to swap them once they're in their seats. It just seems like nothing about any of this makes any sense, and this is all made worse by the fact that they use horrendous CGI. It feels like Disney took a scout—
No, I want to see that again. I want it.
And this is all made worse by the fact that they use horrendous—
my sweet fuck. My sweet fuck. Hey, that's bad. Oh, that's fucking bad. I sign no redeeming qualities about this. None. No redeeming qualities whatsoever right now. Holy fuck. I can't even tell who the fuck is supposed to be who here. Other than, this is Doc and this is Dopey. And I'm guessing because this guy's passed the fuck out, this is Sleepy.
Cheer 100 being German and mistaking one for the other. Guess I'll have to whip myself for that one.
Oh, Hacker, no self-flagellation. No, you made an oopsie. You made an oopsie, that's all. Chat, leave Agar alone. I think Agar has been metaphorically been browbeaten more than enough. It was a mistake. People make mistakes. Be nice. Well, okay, yeah, unless that's your thing, in which case, God bless you. But yeah, other than Doc, Goofy, and Sleepy, I'm guessing because this guy's looking vaguely pissed off, this is Grumpy. God only knows which one's fucking Sneezy. What the actual fuck? Dopey, sorry. I don't know why I said Goofy. Dopey, excuse me. Hey, Revan, Corridor would not stoop themselves to doing this kind of bullshit. Corridor makes fuck's sake, the short movies we just watched by them that were SCP inspired are 1,000 times better than this multi-hundred-million-dollar Disney film. The 10-minute two-parter that we just watched, I would watch any day of the week over this shit.
Use horrendous CGI. It feels like Disney took a scalpel to the original movie, but rather
Atanashi? Don't say that too soon. We have not heard their dialogue yet.
Quite frankly, at this point, I'd rather watch Czechoslovakia's 1973 version of Cinderella.
I was not aware that there was one. Sniper? Interesting. Although, I forget who it was, but Brett Cooper with, I forget the studio. The studio name escapes me for the moment, but Brett Cooper actually did, yeah, Daily Wire. Thank you, Andrea. Daily Wire and Brett Cooper did a Snow White that I think it's already come out, honestly. They were making it like at the same time as Disney was making this version. They're doing their own version of Snow White with Brett Cooper cast as Snow White. So, I have a suspicion there's going to be a great deal of comparison between the two of them, and I really suspect that the Daily Wire's version is probably going to be lauded as being vastly superior. Just a hunch. I'm not a Daily Wire fan. I don't watch the Daily Wire or anything. I've watched a couple of Brett Cooper's videos. But just you know, the trailer that I saw for it, it's gonna be better than Disney's version. It is.
rather than carefully carving it into something new, it hacked away at this with reckless abandon. Every bit of animation feels oversaturated, artificial and just lifeless. While the creatures move around and pull expressions similar to their 2D counterparts, there's just no life to them. None of the magic that Walt Disney originally thought of. They're essentially just glorified plushies, and the dwarves are even worse. Knowing the whole scandal about the dwarves to begin with Peter.
Yeah, so for Pete, so we're gonna get it. So apparently they're gonna get into it now. This was originally going to be the quote-unquote dwarves. Because instead of being dwarves, they were going to be magical creatures. And then these leaked photos got out and people, the entire fucking planet went, Disney, are you out of your fucking mind? And Disney realized, oh shit, we fucked up. We need to actually put dwarves in our Snow White and the Seven Dwarves movie.
With Peter Dinklage even pressuring Disney not to use dwarf actors, it was originally supposed to be.
There it is. There fucking is. Because King Dwarf Dinklage said, don't use little people. Like, fucking seriously? And bearing in mind, when he did this, all the dwarf actors came out of the fucking woodwork saying, who the fuck are you? Dinklage, who the fuck are you to take work away from me because you don't like yourself? Like, yeah, Peter Dinklage, like, because he has stardom now, he suddenly thinks he can speak on behalf of all dwarf actors. He can go fuck himself. And that's what a lot of dwarf actors said. Go fuck yourself, Peter Dinklage. You're taking work away from me. By saying, don't hire dwarf actors to play dwarves because it's quote-unquote backwards. Yeah. Just because you got lucky with the roles you were able to land and are now a fucking millionaire because of it and a household name, stop fucking over the rest of us. So yeah, he is not liked within the little person community of actors right now.
It was originally supposed to be 7 diverse magical dwarves, but now seeing the huge backlash to that, their faces are an unfortunate combination of animation and hyper-realism, and the result's terrible. It's hard to believe that a studio like Disney with all its resources could have such terrible CGI. This is the same studio responsible for producing Narnia, and yet somehow even Narnia, an almost 20-year-old film with a smaller budget and less advanced technology, has better CGI.
Yeah, again, Lord of the fucking Rings, which actually had fucking dwarves in it. I'm gonna keep hammering this fucking home because it needs to be hammered home because Disney are run by a bunch of goddamn morons. Lord of the fucking Rings came out over 20 years ago. It had fucking dwarves in it. They looked perfect. And it was a high fantasy movie. Yeah, the Hobbit movies, which came out even fairly recently, had fucking dwarves in it. Actual actors. And it looked good. So Disney can go fuck themselves with this nightmare-inducing CGI bullshit because they are terrified that they're going to offend someone. Here's a news flash. You're not. You are not going to make everyone happy, Disney. This is free advice for you. You don't even have to buy a sub to my stream. I'll give this to you for free. You're not going to make everyone happy. That is a fact of life. Even no matter what you do, no matter how right you try to be, no matter how righteous you try to be, you are going to piss off people. That is a fact of life. That is a fact of human nature. Okay? You will never please everyone. It is an impossibility. Stop trying. Just make a good fucking movie. Because in the end, you're supposed to be about making money. You make money by making good movies. If you don't make good movies, you don't make money. Am I breaking this down simply enough for you, Disney? Or do you need me to use crayons?
It's a real wonder how Disney...
Cheer 100 honest question here, not to instigate. The fact that day companies didn't step in for these reneged actors mean that they are not people. Can they sue?
No. Gorthia? Theoretically speaking, depending upon the situation, because we don't know the situation behind the scenes of why they went CGI instead of little person actors, there is potential there, but I don't know. They may not be able to because Disney could have said, we chose to go with CGI for bullshit reason X, Y, and Z, and it had nothing to do with the physical stature of the actor in question. There could be an argument to counter that, certainly. But the vast majority of these little person actors
Amber,
won't have the money
Disney
to do
would
it.
take the crayons and eat them and then use the crumbs left over to draw on the walls.
Oh, Andrea, you give them too much credit for saying using crumbs to draw. They would basically diarrhea shoot out the crayons that they've digested onto the wall and say, there's our story.
He went from designing a realistic lion with natural facial expressions to an over-cartoonized turtle. Knowing the amount of hate the film's already got just from the actresses alone, Disney also seems to have really abandoned the production value here. And it's not just the animals and dwarfs that feel artificial. The sets look very obviously green screened and something about the costumes feels off. They seem almost cheap and plastic, like toys designed for children rather than set pieces for a multi-million-dollar movie. The people are the only things that don't feel like they were pulled out of a cartoon. And as a result, they just look out of place. The only person who doesn't seem to look out of place in the trailer was the old hag. Now I
The old hag isn't even old hag enough, honestly. And Albrecht, good. Honestly, I think they could have gone even further with the old hag. She looks old haggish enough, but they should have gone further with the face. Only Robert, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I guess that's a wart right there. It's hard to see with the pixelation. But, they should have made her nose, longer and crooked, and I think they could have, really cragged up her face a bit more. I definitely think they could have gone further. That doesn't look like, I don't know, that doesn't look like Gal Gadot, though, does it? Chat? Does this look like Gal Gadot? Because I'm already starting to run a suspicion in my head. I don't know. That's the thing, bastard. I don't know. The fact this does not look like Gal Gadot. I think what they're doing in this remake is the Wicked Witch does not use magic to turn herself into the old crone. The Wicked Witch is going to grab some assistant or some, underling, turn her into the old crone to go poison Snow White, and the Wicked Witch is going to retain her beauty. I'm wondering if that's where they're going with it, so that way not only will Snow White eat the poison apple, but then she'll also get to confront the witch. So they're taking the story and royally fucking it up, if that's the case. Yeah, I'm guessing this is an underling that the Wicked Witch turns into the crone, the instant they heard the apple and says, go sucker Snow White into eating this. I'm gonna stay here and be beautiful. And thus destroying the entire part of the story where the witch is so obsessed with getting rid of Snow White, she destroys her own beauty, the thing that she was obsessed with in the first place, just to get revenge on Snow White. Kind of fucking up that whole part of the story, don't you think?
Now I know it's meant to be a kids movie and children may not be worried about the smaller details as much, but kids still deserve good content and so do adults. And Disney has become so reliant on CGI in the last few years that their projects just seem so lazy. You don't even have to go that far back to see how much the over-reliance on CGI has changed the complete quality of the studio as a whole. And you know it's just this corporate soulless bore.
I'm gonna say something about the CGI. It's not only a reliance on CGI. They're also crunching the fuck out of their artists and not giving them time to do their work. That was a problem with Black Panther. The CGI for the end fight looked like shit because the artists had next to zero time to craft that CGI. And I bet you that's what's happening here. They reshot the whole fucking movie, brought in CGI artists for the dwarves and shit, and they're crunching like hell to try and push this shit out on a deadline that is insustainable. So, it's not only an over-reliance upon it, it's also not giving their artists any fucking time to do their job.
At the top of the company, looking to cost cut and make as much profit from this stuff as possible.
Rachel
you just
Zegler
look at the
herself
difference
said
between
that.
Lily James's dress in Cinderella and Zegler's in the new trailer. There's absolutely no contest. And the fact that there's barely a 10-year difference between the two films is devastating. Not even the acting can save this abomination of a film, and in some cases is actually contributing to its failure. While Rachel Zegler is currently one of the most disliked Disney actresses, due to her terrible interviews last year, her role isn't actually unearned. She can deliver the lines well, and there's no denying that she can sing. However, Gal Gadot's performance as the evil...
And that's why they hired her. They hired her because she can sing. Yeah, Leo, they made a live-action Cinderella like 10 years ago. It flew... The live-action Cinderella, I think, was basically the start of Disney live-actioning their old animated catalog. That was the start of it, that live-action Cinderella. That is what started Disney on their path of taking their old animated vault and live-actioning the shit out of it. So it was, I'm pretty sure that was the first one, I think.
Evil Queen leaves much to be desired. The thing about Disney villains is that they're meant to be dramatic, larger than life, and very fun to watch. No matter how evil they might be, you just can't help but enjoy every moment they're on screen. It's because you just know that the actors behind them were probably having the best time. They also have
No, Alex, it did not. The live actioning did not start the Lion King. Leo, I think you actually may be correct. I think 101 Dalmatians did come out first, but I don't think it, caused the jump off of Disney to take everything out of their animated vault and live action the shit out of it. Because I think 101 Dalmatians came out, 5 to 10 years before Cinderella did? The Cinderella live action is what really caused the jump off of them doing all of it.
It's because you just know that the actors behind them were probably having the best time. They also have undeniable talent and presence. Even when hidden behind the facade of a cartoon lion, Jeremy Irons commands the room. Be Prepared is one of the most well-loved songs from The Lion King, because he and Jim Cummings put their all into the performance, which is a huge contrast to Gal Gadot, who really doesn't seem to care about this movie anymore, all while secretly hating her co-star and having no real presence for the character of
Oh, fuck, I didn't see that. Hang on.
All while secretly hating her co-star.
Lock Swords of Gal Gadot Disney remake, who will be crowned the fairest of them all.
And having no real...
She's a horrible actress. Oh, fuck. I didn't hear about this. That's funny. Gal the good... The funny part is, now I personally have no feeling one way or the other in regards to Gal Gadot's acting talent. I do think a lot of people are going to find this funny, because there are a lot of people that I've seen in terms of commentary say that Gal Gadot's ability as an actor is nothing to shake a stick at. A lot of people, how she was praised as Wonder Woman, and a lot of people were saying, she was fine, but she doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of, she doesn't have a lot of emotive capability as an actor. So I just find that funny. Yeah, Rat Bastard, I remember that. I remember when she did that. Well, no, Shadow One, because Rachel Zegler's that rant, I'm not actually going to verbalize it because I'm trying to stay the fuck away from that nonsense, is the in vogue thing to do. And so no, she didn't get canceled because all of the DEI feel the same way. So yeah, that's why they didn't cancel her for it, because she basically jumped on the current bandwagon.
Presence for the character of the evil queen. This character is meant to be regal, cold, and calculating, someone so obsessed with her own beauty that she's willing to command the death of her own stepdaughter. Someone who loses that beauty because her obsession drives her to sacrifice it just so that she can rob someone else of theirs.
What the fuck did I say? What the fuck did I say 10 minutes ago? I said the exact same fucking thing.
There doesn't seem to be any of that obsession in Gadot's version of the evil queen. While we could chalk this up to the fact that they've changed some aspects of the story, it's mostly because of Gal Gadot's delivery. She seems more stiff and just irritated that her stepdaughter has opinions, and her obsession with her beauty has become more surface level vanity. Just based on the trailer, we can tell.
Okay,
and her
They
obsession
got
with her
one
beauty
thing
has
right.
become
They got one fucking thing right. They got the face in the magic mirror right. This is the one fucking thing they got correct. The face in the magic mirror looks like the face from the original animated movie. Rouse fucking vo, Disney. You get a cookie.
reality. Just based on the trailer, we can tell that Gal Gadot's evil queen orders Snow White's death, and it will probably have very little intimidation behind it. In less than 2.5 minutes, Disney seems to have destroyed their most prized creation, the original film that started it all for Disney, and it seems like nobody on the set even cares about the film, with most of the actors seemingly hating the original characters.
And, by the way, yes, I'm pausing a lot. Internet, fuck you, it's my show, I'm doing what I want. She backtracked like fucking crazy on this too. She said she didn't like Snow White growing up, and then when people started adding the fuck out of her, saying, then why in the fuck are you playing the Snow White character if you don't even like being her? If you don't even like the movie? And then she started backpedaling and eating shit going, oh, well, it's a classic story, it's a wonderful story. When she's already been recorded saying she didn't like the original story.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage.
Oh,
What
fuck
do you
this
mean by
interview.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be.
Then how is it Snow White? The story of Snow White is she is saved by the prince. That is the story of Snow White, be it the Disney animated film or the original fairy tale. That is the story. If you did not want to be involved in if you did not want Snow White to be saved by the prince, why the fuck did you audition for this fucking movie, you dumb twat? Seriously, if the very concept of the Snow White fairy tale offends her so much, why in the holiest of fucks did she agree to play the lead? Just so you could shit on the movie and make money while doing it? 'Cause that's what it feels like. It feels like she's literally just taking money from Disney just so she can shit on the movie. And Gal Gadot's not doing any favors there because where she's going, she's not gonna be saved by the prince. Like, okay, Gal Gadot, you're a goddamn adult. You know better than this. And Balthazar, thank you for the follow. And Balthazar, can you please magic this dumb bitch away from me, please? I know you can do it. You are the strongest wizard in the Disneyverse. Please, Balthazar, magic this bitch away from me. I'm begging you. Just change her, switch her out with Jenna Ortega or something, please. I beg you.
Be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Yeah, I remember this interview. I remember this interview where she's saying, "Oh, she's not dreaming about true love. She's too busy girl bossing." Yeah, that's what she was saying in this interview. Snow White's not dreaming about true love, like any girl back then would be doing. She's too busy girl bossing. In the 14th century? When I forget what century Snow White's supposed to take part in. I think it's the 14th century, maybe the 15th century, when girls didn't do that. In the time period of Snow White, all they did was dream about true love because girls were products back then. Girls were effectively property back then. Their families married them off as business acquisitions. She's not dreaming about true love, she's dreaming about what she can do for her people. No. Stop trying to shove the girl boss where it doesn't exist.
and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless.
Okay, Zeb, yes. Agree there. But not in the way she's talking about.
Aside from what is discussed, I truly hate the fact that over here in Germany the powers that be have seen a fracking need to remake most any of the old Eastern Bloc adaptations of the fairy tale movies. Cheer 100.
I know, Edgar, and actually, I think it might be best to be more specific. They need to remake remake them with a quote unquote modern sentiment behind it, instead of actually just remaking a fucking fairy tale. And so, Zeb, to your point, women did play power politics, but they did it behind the scenes. They were subtle. They were subtle. They very often they were women were viewed as the power behind the man. That's kind of where that idea came from. Is she was the power behind the king or behind whatever. So it was done in a more subtle way. It was not girl bossing.
Cheer 3000. I shall grant you the power to Mufasa her this cliff.
You mean Ratiki? You mean Ratiki about this art, because it wasn't Mufasa that in the meme. It was Ratiki that just went, "Hit!"
Just fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
And the production crew constantly changing what's actually going to happen in the movie. Since being cast, Rachel Zegler has been one of the studio's biggest problems. She's been at the center of numerous controversies and gone out of her way to make enemies with people with much more power than her, and even her own co-star. But unfortunately for Disney, her latest scandal wasn't a spat with a more popular celebrity, or even the characters like she did previously. This time, she decided she would take on more than half of her country. Now, whether you're left or right wing, it doesn't really matter here. It's all about virtue signaling Hollywood, which is why when Trump won the election recently, Zegler was not happy, but not for any normal reasons. Showing that she needed to prove to the world that she was on the right side of history, she took to her Instagram and wrote a strongly worded story about how disappointed and
Wait, okay, I'm gonna read this, because it must be read. I find myself speechless in the midst of this, another 4 years of hatred leading us towards a world I do not want to live in, leading us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. Does she even have a daughter? Leading us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leading us towards a world that's fearful. I shouldn't be this shocked, but I am. I'm heartbroken for my friends who woke fear this morning. And I'm here with you to cry. Thank you, Thor. To cry, to yell, to hug, to wax back on how the left continues to fail us in forging a new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself. First and foremost, if she wrote this, she needs to go back the fuck to school. There's a lot of shit in here that just, from a written English perspective, doesn't make much fucking sense. Yeah, I didn't think she did either, Bad Wolf. Maybe she's referring to a metaphorical daughter. But really, how very DEI of you. That the people that voted should not know peace, when you have no fucking clue why they did it in the first place. Because according to Rachel Zegler, if you did not vote the way she wanted you to vote, you are an evil person. Yeah, there's a word for that. I can't think of it quite at this moment, where it's, trying to homogenize wrongthink. There's a word for that, isn't that, Jeff? I can't quite put my finger on it at this moment.
Broken she was over the country's decision, calling Trump a threat to democracy and finishing off her post with a wish that Trump and his supporters would never know peace. No matter which side of the political aisle you're on, this is a pretty strong statement for a mainstream actor. Not really the sort of thing you want from a woman playing a Disney princess, as more than half the country will understand.
No, chat. The word I've been... Never mind.
understandably angered by Zegler's words and started calling for her to be fired, which isn't the first time that people have called for this. After this, people suspected that Disney sent her a very stern email, as Zegler quickly returned to Instagram to deliver a half-hearted apology. She explained that she let her emotions
Hi everyone, I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post I shared on my Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the better of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding, and I am sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. You can feel the metaphorical gun to her head when she's writing this. This week has been very emotional for so many of us, but I firmly believe that everyone has the right to their opinion. Even when it differs from my own, I'm committed to contributing positively towards. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Play them in!
get the best of her, and was committed to contributing positively towards a better tomorrow. The apology is very carefully worded, as if Disney had told her exactly what to say. However, no one else was buying it. Zegler had shown her true colors once again, and after many forced apologies.
And, yeah, by the way, something I just saw that's damn on point. Gina Carano was canceled for way less than this. 100% right here. I'm highlight this in my react video because it's 100% fucking true. Gina Carano posted something that was far less than what she did. And they literally fucking fired her. And now Gina Carano is suing the fuck out of Disney. And last I heard, her court case is looking quite very good. But Rachel Zegler wasn't fired. Wanna know why? Because her politics align with Disney's. And so Disney's like, cool. They only made her say something because people were adding the fuck out of Disney. I thought it was still ongoing, Death Panda. It could have completed. I thought the court case was still ongoing. I've not kept up with it. The last I'd heard about it some time ago is that it was looking very positive for her. I have no idea if it's okay. It's not done. They're in discovery. Okay, but I have heard that it's going very strongly in Gina Carano's favor. And Death Monkey, thank you for the follow. Any relation to Black Myth Wukong? That's exactly what it is. Rachel Zegler's politics align with Disney, so Disney was like, cool, we're happy with what you said. And then Disney got the shit added out of them across all social media platforms, and they went, oh, we should probably ask for her to we should probably have her make an apology just to cover our ass to make us, like, go, we're sorry.
And after many forced apologies, nobody was buying it anymore. But it wasn't just hurting Snow White's chances of success, it was also poking holes in Disney's paper-thin arguments over its integrity, as there's been far too many scandals to count with Disney in recent years. And we've actually made several videos in the past discussing just this alone. And Disney, seeing the backlash they've got to all their virtue signaling stuff, are now trying to reel it in. But it seems like they're losing control of all of this, which is why many suspect that Disney is once again bracing itself for a rough start to 2025. This comes after many years of disaster, as money has just been going down the drain for the company recently. Now, of course, Disney
is hemorrhaging money. They have had one, maybe two successes in the last, I'd say, 7 to 8 years. They've had one or maybe two successes. Everything else, they've just been pissing money away. They're headed for Cortanas. I'd say they're headed for bankruptcy and collapse very quickly. They may be going the route of Ubisoft if we're lucky. Yeah, Sniper Bait. Actually, more than that. Interest income, they've lost 322 million. Restructuring and impairment, they've lost 152 million. And then cost and expenses was 19.5 billion. Their net income was 1.5. Their net income plus their income tax is about 2 billion. Their losses are 20. Now, I'm not a math scholar, chap. I'm just a humble anime tech girl. But I do believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, please, let me know if my stupid anime cat girl brain is not getting this right. 20 billion loss is far more substantial than the $2 billion gain. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a mathematician. But this seems like a far higher loss than anything they've gained. Just a quick little observation, and Death Monkey, thank you for the tier 1.
Many years of disaster, as money has just been going down the drain for the company recently. Now, of course, Disney is notorious for having big budgets for its films. It dedicates thousands of hours and millions of dollars.
Well, wait, how much did they pay for John Carter? How much was that? 300 million. Fuck, I didn't realize they dumped that much money into that shitstorm. Oh,
It dedicates thousands of hours and millions of dollars to projects that people love. However, it seems like as the cost of projects has gone up, the quality has also taken a nosedive, as we can quite clearly see with Snow White. According to Forbes, production costs have jumped up to $269.4 million,
oh, God.
And that was just because of reshoots after the backlash over Disney's replacements for the dwarves and other elements of the movie. This time the studio can only blame itself. While Disney was forced to admit they'd
I mean, Andrea, Snow White's on track to do the same goddamn thing. They've done at least one reshoot of 80% of at least 80% of the movie. Who knows if they're... I don't think they have time to do it again because it's coming out in March, but they did at least one reshoot that was 80%. And they did the same thing with Captain America Brave New World. Or whatever the fuck they're calling it. The new Captain America movie was like completely reshot. And I think it was reshot twice.
overspent their budget, refused to admit defeat. A $55.5 million reimbursement from the UK government gave the studio a bit of leeway, but the cost of the film was still insane. And the crazy thing is that these aren't even the final numbers. And yet by looking at the trailers and the reception to it online, it seems like this movie is going to be yet another giant train wreck for the studio. For almost 2 years now, Disney has spent so much money on reshoots, post-production and marketing just for this movie, so it's safe to assume that by the time Snow White makes it onto the big screen, its total cost will be well over $300 million. Because of the drama surrounding the upcoming movie, most out of
more than that. More than that. By the time post-production is all said and done, it's going to be close to $300 million to $250, $300 million. The marketing budget? Double it. Total cost with both production and marketing is going to be anywhere between $500 to $600 million. Because marketing budgets, marketing budgets are usually about another 50% at minimum. Many of the marketing budgets these days are basically you're doubling your production cost with the marketing for very often.
Even break even, much less profit. To put into perspective, The Little Mermaid suffered a $5 million loss, and this was despite having a lead actress that was at least likable. Meanwhile, Zegler appears to be one of the main reasons people are sworn.
I would question about the lead actress being likable. I've heard plenty of things where when she went on to a, I think it was a Mexican talk show. I can't recall exactly. It was somewhere Latin. Whether it was in Mexico or whether it was in South America, I forget. I forget where exactly. But she went onto the show. The host praised her high to fucking heaven. We're saying, like, we didn't care that you were not white, like the original Disney animated film. We loved your singing. And she said, I'm never doing one of these again. Because she viewed the host praising the ever-living fuck out of her as racist. Because he literally brought up her skin color and said it didn't matter to him. He thought she was great. So, yeah, I'm going to question the validity of Halle Berry being likable. Or Halle Bailey. I always say Berry by mistake. Halle Bailey. Yeah, I'm going to question Halle Bailey being likable.
off watching Snow White, not to mention the huge list of all the other things. With this in context, it's easy to understand why they avoided releasing the official trailer and poster for so long. Arguably the best thing Disney can do now is accidentally lose all the footage from the project and use it as a tax write-off.
Yeah, it's too late, even for Disney. Wow, okay. Chat? That ain't good. That's not good. This is a train wreck that's going to slap the fuck out of Disney. I'm like, this is not going to go well. Not only is the movie going to be absolute dog shit, but it's going to lose millions. It's going to lose hundreds of millions. And could very well be their biggest loss to date. I suspect it may be their biggest loss to date once it launches.